Do you still text with John Sterling? Will you send him a text message?
I'll send it, but I have to call him to get the answer because he doesn't know how to respond.
Here we go. Legendary Yanks broadcaster Suzyn Waldman with us right now following the World Series. Suzyn, great to have you on. How are you doing? How was the World Series for you, aside from the result?
How was the World Series for me? It was fine. It was wonderful. And everything I'd watched all year, the only thing that was missing out of that fifth inning was somebody getting thrown out on the bases. Because every mistake that I've seen all year all happened in that game. And yeah, I mean, I knew that it was going to happen at some point, but I didn't think it was all going to happen at the same time.
Oh my gosh, it's like the world just completely came together and spoke to the baseball world and said, this is not how you should play baseball to be the best team on the planet. I mean, that's what we really witnessed. I'm glad you mentioned it because people are referring to numbers. Not every baseball fan can watch every Yankee game. You did, right? I didn't catch every game, but I catch plenty. I'm like, you don't need stats. Eye test, you're like, wow, this team has problems. So we'll get right to it then. Do you think it's a fundamental Yanks issue, like an organizational issue, how they're looking for players, how they're developing them, coaching them, whatever? Or do they just have some guys who are not very good fundamental ball players and they need to make some off-season changes with transactions?
Well, I think it's all of the above. I think there is a fundamental teaching problem in this organization. I think there are people playing out of position. I don't know what Jazz Chisholm's position really is, but it was the first time in his life he played third base. You have a right fielder playing center field. Alex Verdugo can play everywhere. He was playing left. You had a right fielder, and I know it's Juan Soto, and this is blasphemy. He's not exactly Roberto Clemente out there. He's a wonderful player and a wonderful hitter. What he is not is a wonderful right fielder. You have a Gold Glove right fielder playing center field. He was great. He's not Devon White. It's all of the above. It's all of the above, and all of it happened in one inning. I mean, I have seen Jazz Chisholm cross in front of Anthony Volpe since he walked in the door here, and the play's not made. It didn't happen in that game. It's happened in other games. There are fundamental mistakes. They are, I won't say sloppy because I think everybody tries. I just think that something needs to be done with the fundamentals on this team. And it doesn't start with signing Juan Soto. And I hope he's back. He's a terrific guy and a terrific player. But this absolutely focus on whether Juan Soto is here or not, I think is kind of misplaced. It's great if he's back, but that's not the reason they lost, whether he was here or there. There are other things on this team that are really potent problems.
As we talk about a lot of mistakes, and you can go back to the fifth inning. I'm just going to push that one to the side because we know that was a monster inning. There was a plethora of mistakes that happened in one inning, which is just insanity. It was crazy. I want you to think about what was the biggest mistake you can go back to any game you could think of in that World Series. To you, what do you think the biggest mistake was made? And then I'm gonna tell you what I thought the biggest mistake was made. But I would like to hear you first, what you thought. Maybe from Boone or a player, but what do you think the biggest mistake in the World Series was, taking away that last game?
Okay, I think the biggest mistake in the series came in the first game when Aaron Boone brought in Luke Weaver too early, is what I thought. So that's what I think. It wasn't Nestor Cortez. He made a mistake. And it wasn't that Tim Hill got Freddie Freeman the rest of the game. You didn't know what was going to happen there. I just think, and I think if Booney had one thing to take back, it was bringing Weaver in too early, because then when you really needed him, you couldn't. He's on fumes anyway. So that to me, and you can go back on everything, but I think that's the only thing. Watching this team every day and watching how he manages and watching how people play, to me, that was the only one that I think Booney would tell you, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah, and I'm along the line. I wanted to see Cole go longer, and I thought with 88 pitches, in my opinion, give him another out. Give him one more. Give him, if another guy gets on, then you can start talking about, maybe getting somebody out.
See, I'm not sure about that because we don't know what really went on. I didn't see Garrett Cole fight him. And usually, Garrett Cole knows if he doesn't want to leave a game, he's not coming out. And and Boone had said to somebody, I think he was spent. And I don't not believe it. I don't want to take the 88 pitches. I don't know what it was, 88 pitches or 97 pitches. But to me, and I could be dead wrong, Todd, I could be dead wrong. My guess is that they saw something, and he had given up some hard hit balls right before that. My guess is they saw something. Not that Garrett Cole couldn't have gotten out of that, but I don't think counting pitches was the thing that made him take him out right there.
Yeah, we were critical too, and it actually just came out, and Ian O'Connor put a report out and said that behind the scenes, Cole was saying he was gassed at that point. Just happened to be the case for that particular day at 88 pitches, but then obviously he wasn't gassed the other day. He was, as Smoltz said, putting together one of the best performances he's seen to bounce back after that inning.
Yeah, that's as good a performance as I've seen out of him all year. And that's what he was leading up to, starting in when he got hurt and coming back. And to watch him get to that point, he knew exactly what he was doing so that he would be ready for that instance. That game is why they got Garrett Cole, and he was not only up to it, I just thought he was brilliant. And my whole thing about the first game was that if he's out of there, they saw something or he said something to them. Aaron Boone would never say that on the pedestal. Ever would he go against a player or say anything. But that was just my guess at the time. And if that's come out now, then I'm not surprised.
Suzyn, we're live here, and I don't want you to get attacked by an absolute vicious beast that just walked through the doorway. So
well, she recognized. No, she heard all these men's voices, and she's thinking, what? Usually there's one at a time, but not three. And so she came in and going, what is going on here? That's my German Shepherd. Her name is Margot, and she'd probably love you, Kratzy. She'd love you. So.
She would. She definitely would. I would scratch a belly or two. So. Whose fault is the fundamentals? You're watching this team the whole time, and I've asked so many people this. We even asked just ask John Smoltz this, who doesn't watch the team except for during the playoffs. He's got a bunch of national games. Whose fault is this? Because it's always like, well, if they don't follow Booney's got to be one to lay the law down, and Booney's like, well, you're giving me guys who are not necessarily positioned. But I also would say that Cash did everything possible to put a roster out there that they put out there, and they made the World Series.
Well, they made the World Series. Yes, they did. And whose fault is it? I don't think it's the players themselves, because, as you said, there are people in position. It's how they're taught. It's where they're placed. They actually, when you look at, there's. It's everywhere. It's not, somebody quoted me. That's nice. Yeah, they're right. Whoever that is, Rami Levi, you're absolutely right. You watch it all the time, and there's mistakes. Are they positioned wrong? Are they taught wrong? When they run the bases, what are they doing? What do they see? When they're thrown out at home, I don't want to hear anymore. He had to make a perfect throw. Teoscar Hernandez makes perfect throws. I don't think I've ever seen him in 3 different uniforms make a non-perfect throw. You have to know who's out there. You have to know the situation. I know they wanted to play aggressively. I understand it. But there's another team on the field, and my guess is they had some pretty good scouts, the Dodgers did, following the Yankees for a month. I'd seen them every day. They were there. And it reminded me back in '88 when Mel Didier, who was the best scout ever, was writing all down the bad tendencies of the Oakland A's. And there they all were. And so if you have a tendency to study this team, defensively, running the bases, et cetera, how they use the bullpen, how tired people are, what they see with arm slots, you can scout this team very, very well. And you know what? The other team was better for those games. They were just better. They did not make mistakes. You had players who have rings. Mookie now has 3 rings. Freddie Freeman has rings. Will Smith has a ring. I mean, it's people, and of course the manager has a couple himself. So I think it's a little different also. Whenever there was the bright lights, the lights were not too bright on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and everybody was talking about Game 3. I got all excited too. If you didn't think that that was going to happen, or if you thought that the Dodgers really cared that that was going to happen, you weren't paying attention.
I'm going to spin us right to Soto, and that is where the topic immediately jumps to for Yanks fans. It was there already during the season. They loved what they saw from him at the plate, and him and Judge were such a dynamic combination, a historic combination. So how did you feel about the way that he said temporary goodbye to everyone? In the last 24 hours, was like, hey, I think he was just being real. Like, I'm a free agent. They don't get a discount. Let's see what this looks like. Also, yes, he's going to the highest bidder in my mind. The highest bidder also tells you they value you the most, and I think that matters to him. So anyway, Hector in our chat put it in a unique way, and I'll ask it to you this way. He said, Jeter, quote, I want to be a Yankee for life. Glaber, quote, I want to be a Yankee for life. Soto, quote, I want to talk to everyone, right? So I think that's rubbing some people the wrong way. I don't see it that way. What do you think?
I don't think he should have said anything. The team just lost the World Series. How about saying this is not the time for this?
Exactly.
I did see him in the dugout. I did. I was on the air and I watched him. I watched the whole thing. I thought he was looking around because he did and does love it here. He fit in great. He's not what I thought, but he knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly what he wants. And I think it would have been a lot more seamly if he had just said, thank you for asking, but this is not the time. I love it here. It was a great year. We just lost. I just don't like that. And I was there. It went on for a long time. All he had to do was say, this is not the time for this. I really believe that. I know he always answers everything. He always does. And he's very polite and he's very coached and he knows what he's saying. I just didn't think it was the time for it. I really didn't.
You said not who I thought. So can you elaborate? Like, yeah, I mean, this was your first time to be around him. I've been around him, definitely not as much as you probably at this point, but over the course of his whole career, I've been covering the sport and used to be at ballparks all the time. So what do you think? What did you learn about how he is as a ball player? Because he is definitely unique, not just in the batter's box, but as a person. I mean, he came up, he's an instant superstar at like 19. It makes things different.
But it's different. I didn't know he's really, I hate to use the word mature. He really is he's a finished product. Mentally, he speaks beautifully. He knows what to say. He's really smart. He is really smart. And from what Kevin Long told me years ago, he's teaching himself English. And in a couple of years, this is way back when he was 18, Kevin Long said, this guy is going to be special. He told me back then, there's something he is so aware, and the things that come out of his mouth about calming down. I'll tell you something I saw, because this is absolutely him in a nutshell. I forget what game it was. Maybe it was the last game. Jazz Chisholm made an out when there were men on base. It was the third out, and I looked down, and Soto, as he was coming out to the field, had his arm around Jazz. And they're, by the way, the same age. It's not like father and son here. And he was talking to him about something and patting him on the back, but he always has. The things that come out of his mouth are something that you would expect a seasoned veteran who has been through the wars and has learned on the way. It's something, I can remember seeing Todd Frazier put his arm around people. And I don't know what he was saying, but probably saying this. You should have done this. Maybe you should have done this. And you see Jazz nodding his head. You don't expect that out of a 25-year-old who is really, a star, as big a star as anyone on the team except for the captain. He did that all year. And you'd see him. I always called his at-bats like watching a 3-act play. Because he terrorized pitchers. I don't care who was on there. I don't care who was on the mound. He terrorized them with his pointing and going, yep, you got me. Or, nah, that wasn't a strike, but I'm going to get you. Every single at bat, day after day, month after month. It was just a joy to watch him. He is so into everything, but also into everybody on this team. They loved him. My dog's going to now lie down here. She's circling to find a good place with the rug. I'm sorry.
You're good.
But to watch him, I mean, he's just a joy. He really is. He is everything except Roberto Clemente out in right field. He is everything they had hoped he would be. He's really special.
Agreed. And along those lines, take Soto out of it here. Say say Yankees don't get Soto back, what is the biggest need right now for the Yankees in this offseason? They have a bunch of guys. I think I know what you're going to say, but tell me what you think the biggest need is. You say you don't get Soto. Now you understand you got all this money. You could spend a little bit more. Let's talk.
Well, how about signing Alex Bregman to play third base? How about signing Pete Alonso to play first base? Take that money and get yourself a first baseman and a third baseman. There's no third baseman on this team. I mean, it really is, there's supposed to be a power position. And I know they played it right. I know Cabrera played it well. And I know DJ, when he was not hurt, was there. You need, go get somebody like that. You need a first baseman. I don't know what they're doing with Anthony Rizzo. How about signing Pete Alonso? I mean, those are supposed to be, or don't they do that anymore in analytics? Aren't first baseman and third baseman supposed to have power coming out of those positions?
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Todd Father, let's finish with a little love for your guy.
Last question. So you're with the big Sterling, I call him, in the booth there again. First off, I want to say, so I turned my car on. I put the game on because I wasn't at home. And the first thing I hear him, hey, Sue, is this guy's singing here in L.A. I've never heard of him. And you're like, yeah, I think that's Ice Cube, John. Like, and you guys are talking. And I was laughing out loud because he had no clue who Ice Cube was out there singing the song, getting everybody going in L.A. And then, go ahead.
Do you think I had any idea who Ice Cube was? First of all, I'm sorry. I thought it was, you know who I thought it was? I thought it was, I knew Ice-T was back here doing SUV. I thought it was Finn, so he was coming. I'm so embarrassed, but I love this guy. I thought it was LL Cool J, and I was waiting for him because I love that guy. He's a great actor and a great performer and wildly attractive. And I just thought he was coming out. And then this other guy comes out, and actually the sound system is so oppressively loud in LA but John was just sitting there staring into space. Everybody's taking pictures of it. And now I know who Ice Cube is. I didn't understand a word of what he said. I did hear a couple of profanities, and I did hear LA a couple of times, and everybody started taking pictures and clapping. I didn't know either, but I try and learn. I just got confused of who it was. But John actually, he'll admit it. He doesn't hear all that well anymore, so it probably was just as well.
Now, do you see him coming back next year if there's playoffs again?
No, I don't. I don't.
All right, that's all I got.
That was it.
You've been on twice, and I kind of brought it up last time. Do you still text with John Sterling? Will you send him a text message?
I'll send it, but I have to call him to get the answer because he doesn't know how to respond. So he gets text. He has a flip phone, and every time he tries to punch in things, a flip phone doesn't have just letters and number, whatever. But no, I can text, but then I have to call him to see what his answer is. Would you like me to tell him something?
Next time you talk to him, tell him I said congratulations, but I also need to know what his call would have been for me had I actually hit a home run when I played for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I thought about that, and I did tell him the first time I was on, and then it was before the season started, actually, and then all of a sudden he's gone. He was a week
no doubt. More important things. But when you have a conversation with him, make sure he knows I say congratulations, but I have to know. I have to know what it is.
Suze, tell him to send a quick video. Tell him, hey, listen, pretend he hits a home run right now. Go ahead so he can have it in his bar or wherever he wants.
Well, but see, he would come on with you, but he doesn't have any internet, so he can't do it. I mean, if you want to send somebody to his house in New Jersey and set up a Zoom for him, he'd come on. He'd love it. But you have to set it up, and he'll go to Todd's house and do it? Is that what you're saying?
No, we have
I'll go to his house.
Yeah, or our executive producer could make that happen. There's some plans. Here's the deal. Kratz, get his number. Give him a call. You should call him and give him the congrats yourself and say, hey, what was the call? Then we could work on that. And maybe make an exception to get a phone call from John instead of video even. So.
Mark can call me and get the number, or I'll text it to Todd.
Boom.
There we go.
Done.
There we
Deal.
go.
I love that. Yeah. Enjoy. Well, enjoy the off season, Suzyn.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Love you guys.
We love you too.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.